Hey guys, hello, Minimalism is fun group members. I am so happy to be here live with you today. Sorry that I am a couple minutes late. I had some interesting issues getting on live for some reason. I don't know if Facebook likes to change stuff. I don't know if they changed their policy on going live on your laptop, but I could not go live on my laptop. So I'm here on my phone and I don't have a phone stand. So I'm gonna hold it as steady as I possibly can. If it starts to shake, I apologize and I am sorry about that. But please come on in the comments, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if this works. I'm gonna open up my laptop here and see if I can more easily see your comments over on my laptop. So I'm gonna just open that up and see if I see it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. So anyway, we are going to do this the best that we can. If you are hopping on, if you are joining us live, please feel free to comment down below. Tell me where you're coming from. Just say, hey, introduce yourself just so that I know that you are all here. I do see some people popping on, so feel free to enter comments below telling me your name, telling me where you're from, and we're gonna have a great time today answering your questions about minimalism and simplicity. We're also hoping to do a dance party in the middle of it. But now that I'm on my phone, which was where my music was, I don't know how I'm gonna manage that, but we will figure it out. It's gonna be fun no matter what, if there's a dance party or not. So I wanna start off by answering questions that you all have. Hi, Laura. Questions that you all have about minimalism and simplicity. I did solicit my email list and also on this page for questions ahead of time, and so I have some of those. So I'm going to be answering some of those first, but once we get to the end of the questions that people asked ahead of time, I would love if you have questions that you want to ask now. So I want to introduce myself a little bit for those of you who don't know me. My name is Rose Lounsbury. I am a simplicity coach, keynote speaker. My goal in life, I'm an author. My goal in life is to help busy people get more balance in their lives by going through simplicity, by having less stuff, by getting more peace of mind. So that is what I aim to do in life, and I aim to do it by having a little bit of fun with you as well. I know a lot of times we think about minimalism or simplicity and it can seem kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say boring, but maybe boring. It's like listening to NPR or drinking tea. Two things that I do and I like to do, but it doesn't have to be boring and unfun. Like minimalism and simplicity, the whole point of letting go of the excess stuff in your life is so that you can do the things you really want to do. So I would love you in the comments to give me a thumbs up or an emoji if you want more time in your life to do the things that you want to do. So go into the comments, give me an emoji so that I know that you're with me. I know you want to have fun in your life, and for you, when you are dealing with all of your excess stuff, hi Suzanne, maybe it's not so fun. Okay, so give me a little emoji so that I can see that you're with me, that you're ready to have some fun, and you're ready to do that by letting go of some of your excess stuff. Awesome. All right, so I am going to start off by answering some of the questions that I got on email and on this Facebook page earlier this week. And I'm answering these because it pays to ask ahead of time, but also realize that the questions other people asked are probably questions that you have too. So listen up, and hopefully some of these answer some of your questions. So the first one was from Tracy. Tracy sent me an email and she said, I've been minimizing for a couple years. Oh, hi Joyce. I've been minimizing for a couple years. I'll think I'm finished and then I decide to minimize a little more. I approve of that. My problem area has been sentimental items. I've donated and shared some items. I've even started using those embroidered kitchen towels my grandmother made for me 30 years ago. That's sweet. Still, I found it difficult to declutter other sentimental items. Yearbooks. Why is it so difficult to part with yearbooks? I had great high school years, but I never look at the yearbooks. I see clutter when I see them on the shelf. I do not find them to be useful or beautiful. All right, Tracy, this is a great question. She actually asked a couple questions in here, so we're going to break it down a little bit. So the first thing she talked about were sentimental items. She said that she's actually found a way to use some of the items that are sentimental, like those dish towels that her grandmother made her, but it's difficult to declutter some other sentimental items. So here's the first thing that I would say to that, Tracy, is if you really love something and it brings you joy, you do not need to declutter it. I think sometimes people come to me and they expect me to tell them to get rid of everything. Well, just get rid of it. I don't ascribe to that. I actually think that it is very harmful to let go of things that are truly meaningful to you. So if these items are truly meaningful, they make you happy, they bring you joy, don't declutter them. Keep them. Those are the things we should keep. Actually, that's the whole point of decluttering, is to keep the things that bring you happiness. So that said, one of my rules with memorabilia, which is really what you're talking about here, is that you should only save memorabilia for yourself. The only person you should save memorabilia for is you. So that means, Tracy, that if someone has given you these things, right, maybe they've passed on and they've given them to you, and you feel an obligation to keep them out of a memory for that person, realize you're not obligated to save anyone else's memories. Likewise, you are not obligated to save memories for a future generation. So sometimes the opposite is true. We're saving memorabilia or sentimental items as a way to pass them on to people who are coming after us. And that's not a reason to save memorabilia either. The only person you should save memorabilia for is you. You are the keeper of your own memories, nobody else. So whenever you go through that memorabilia and you're thinking of what to save, ask yourself, does this matter to me? Not did it matter to my grandma, or not will it matter to my kids or my grandkids. Does it matter to me now? That's the question. And if the answer to that is an honest yes, keep it. By all means, keep it. The second thing that I will tell you is my one rule with memorabilia. I actually have two. The first is the only person you should save memorabilia for is you. And the second rule is a truism about memorabilia. Hi, Ashley, and hi, Gary, and hi, Anna. And Marge, I will get to your question later after I answer some of these, but I see it. You always want more time. The second truism that I'll share with you is that there's only two things that can happen to memorabilia over time. One is it becomes more important. So as we save items, they can actually become more important. And two is it becomes less important. As we save items, they can become less important. One of those two things will happen to your memorabilia over time. It's either become more important or it's become less important. So what you do when you open up the boxes and the bins and you look at the things is you ask yourself, has this become more important to me over time? Yes or no? You will know the answer. Your heart will tell you the answer. You just have to trust yourself to know, and you'll know if it's more or less important. And if it's become more important, keep it. If it's become less important, let it go. And remember, the only person you're saving memorabilia for is you. Okay, so when we get to the yearbooks, which you mentioned, Tracy, specifically, you asked, why is it so difficult to part with yearbooks? You had a great time in high school, but when you look at the yearbooks now, all you see is clutter. You said you don't find them to be useful or beautiful. Well, I would say, from your own words, Tracy, what's happened to these yearbooks over time is they have become less important to you. Probably when you were in high school and you had everybody sign it, it was the end of the year, it was awesome. They were more important to you then. As time has gone on, they've become less important. That's normal and that's natural. So based on what you've said, it sounds like those yearbooks, it might be time to let them go. And if that feels scary, one thing that you can do is you can put them in a box and you can write, let go by, and put a date on it. And if that date comes, whatever date you want, and you have not felt the need to open up those boxes and look at those yearbooks, then it's time to let them go. I will tell you, I donated or tossed. I might have tossed. I don't know if I donated yearbooks. Kind of weird to donate yearbooks. But I let go of all but one of my yearbooks. I kept the one that had the most signatures in it, so I had the most memories. So I have one yearbook from high school. I do not have all of them, and I am fine with that. But that is just me. That doesn't mean that that's what you should do. So I hope that is helpful, Tracy. Thank you so much for your question about memorabilia, something we all struggle with, and sentimentality. Second question is from Laura, and Laura, I know you're on this live because I saw you, so this is awesome. Laura is asking, and all of us want this question answered. She's asking how to declutter digitally and keep up with emails. I can never get to mailbox 0. Everybody, give a little thumbs up or a high five. If you are feeling Laura, put a little emoji in the comments. If you are feeling her on the email struggle is real, folks. I feel it. Laura feels it. I'm guessing more of you out there are feeling it. So how do we declutter digitally? So I'm going to give you a couple strategies here. So the first one, I'm seeing your thumbs ups, guys. Awesome. The first strategy is to deal with, oh, and Joyce says, I have a lot of school yearbooks are online now. Oh, that's a good point too, Joyce. For Tracy, if your yearbook might be online, and actually probably current kids, their yearbooks are online. So 2 strategies for the digital decluttering of the email specifically. The first strategy is how we deal with email coming in, and the second strategy deals with the backlog of email, like the 10,000 emails in your inbox, okay? So I'm gonna start by teaching you how to deal with the email coming in, all right? So as email comes in, you want to get in the habit of processing it. Processing doesn't mean you have to answer every single one. It doesn't mean you have to do anything based on the email, but you're processing it just like a machine would process data, right? Become a machine and you're just processing the data. And the four categories that you're processing your email are called RAFT, R-A-F-T. Write that down, R-A-F-T. Stands for read, action, file, or trash. Those are the only 4 things you can do with email. The only 4 things you can do with paper either, guys. This system applies to your paper too, which I'll talk about next. So raft that email as it comes in. So you get the email, you decide, okay, is this something I need to read? Like a newsletter from my kid's school? I probably just need to read that just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Is it something I need to take action on? Like it's from my child's teacher and I need to actually respond and tell them yes or no to chaperoning the field trip. School's out, so I don't know why I'm using school examples, but that's what I'm doing. F is file. So let's say this email comes in and it's actually related to my taxes, or it's related to a bill, or it's related to a receipt for my business. I need to file that. I'll have a filing system in my email and I'll just plug it into the file, right? Or trash, everybody's favorite. And if you're trashing a lot of things, especially if they're subscriptions, I think even better than trash is unsubscribe. Get yourself off those things that you're trashing a lot. So you either read it, take action on it, file it, or trash it. Now, here's the thing with action. If it requires 2 minutes or less of an action, like you just got to respond, right? 2 minutes or less, you got to do something quickly, just respond and take the action right then. If the action is going to take longer than 2 minutes, it requires you to write a report or do something for a client that's going to take a longer time, you need to get that email out of your inbox and onto a task list or into a separate folder on your email that you call to do or take action or whatever you want to call it. But get it out of the inbox, right? It's a bigger action. It's maybe a project. Get it onto a handwritten list or a digital list of to-dos or into a separate email folder for actionable projects. And the reason I want you to move it out of the inbox is because when we leave stuff in the inbox as a running to-do list, what we do is we mentally, every time we look at the inbox, we're like, oh, got to do that. Oh, haven't done that yet. Oh, need to do that. Oh, need to do that. You're wasting a lot of brain space just telling yourself you have to do it and you haven't done it yet. And it also is going to create anxiety for you. So get it out of the inbox onto a task list. Okay? Read, action, file, trash. That's how you deal with it coming in. Now, what if you've got like a gazillion emails and like rafting that just feels overwhelming? In that case, Anna, who I know is on the call, who is in my membership group, actually shared with us on our page the other day how she deleted, I think, like 3,000 emails in half an hour. It was something crazy. Anna, you can correct me if I'm wrong on those numbers. But what you do is you pretend that your email inbox is on fire. So you set your email inbox on fire, not literally, okay? But I want you to imagine that your house was on fire. If your house was on fire, what would you do? You would very quickly prioritize the most important things for you to grab. You would get them and you would get out of the house, okay? So that would be people, pets, photographs, important documents. Very quickly, you would know what mattered and what didn't. You'd grab what you could and you would get out to save your life. We all would do that. So if our email inbox, so Anna said 4,000 emails in 30 minutes. She's a rock star. I'm gonna tell you how she did it next. So if you are setting your email inbox on fire, for example, I want you to imagine that it's on fire, that in 15 or 20 minutes, every email in there is going to blow up and it's going to burn and you're not going to have it. So set yourself a timer for 15 or 20 minutes. Go through and pluck out and save. Create a folder called save or important. Save those most important ones and move them all to the folder. Then light it on fire, delete everything else. Everything else. You've saved the things from the fire that need to be saved. Anything that you couldn't identify in 15 or 20 minutes as being vitally important needs to burn. I know that sounds harsh. It doesn't sound good. It sounds scary. But here's the thing, guys. If you're using Gmail especially, it's never gone. There's a folder called All Mail that has all the email you have ever sent or received in there. But I want you to go through and mass delete everything else in the inbox. And the way that Anna did this was she did it on her phone. She brought up her inbox, and if you hit select all, I think is what it was. You can go through, or she just selected with her finger, like she scrolled down, and if she wanted to save one, she picked her finger up. And then everything else was selected and she just deleted, and that one was saved. And then she put her finger down again, scrolled down, selected all, and then deleted. And she deleted, like I said, 4,000 emails in 30 minutes by that scrolling of her finger, allowing her to delete mass amounts of email at once. Okay, so that's the inbox on fire method. Save in 15 to 20 minutes what you can save. Delete everything else by mass editing, mass bulk deleting it all. Don't read it, don't look at it, just delete it, get rid of it. If they really want to know something from you, they'll email you again, okay? And then you're free of it, and then you can start fresh with that clean inbox, and you can start rafting as things come in. Okay, so you've cleared that backlog. So that's email. Thank you, Laura, for the question. And if anyone else has other questions, Anna's on here. She's in our group. You can message her or maybe just tag her in the group and ask her more about her email decluttering, because it was phenomenal. All right, let's see. Joyce. Joyce, you're also on here. I'm answering your question next. Joyce's question, I love this one. She said, what are your thoughts about art on the walls, especially in bedrooms? On one hand, I love the quiet Zen feeling of bare walls, but I also like looking at art I love, but I don't want it to feel busy. And she also, in her question, had included a picture from a designer that she liked that had some minimal framing and big white mats. So this was a different kind of topic, right? This was not necessarily about clutter on our surfaces or clutter in our closets, but that whole idea of design and simplicity, and what does our surroundings and feng shui, what does that make us feel? And how do we feel more peaceful or more busy based on what's on our walls? So you can see behind me, Joyce, I am actually in my bedroom right now. I kind of ascribe to your white walls theory. But I also feel that it is important that if there's art that you love and it brings you joy to look upon it, there is no reason that you cannot have art on your walls. I mean, minimalism or simplicity, there are no rules here. Nothing to say that you have to have bare walls to be a minimalist. One of the things that I've actually found is sometimes I feel like I go too much toward not decorating, and I wish that I did decorate more, and I feel like that's kind of where you are. So one of my rules is if it's useful or beautiful to you, these are the things we want in our homes. So art's probably not useful, I would assume, but beautiful. If these things are beautiful to you, Joyce, if it would bring you joy to look at them, by all means, put them on your walls. And if you decide that you don't like them, by all means, take them off the walls. The nice thing about hanging things on our walls is it's usually not permanent, right? We can remove it, we can add it, we can change it. You can go back to those bare walls if you want to. But I think what I'm hearing in your question is a desire to have something more to look at. Yes, the Zen white wall is great, but if you desire something more to look at, by all means, get yourself some beautiful art that makes you feel peaceful. I love it. My mom's an artist, so I support the artists. Go art. Art is great. Okay, next questions that I got ahead of time. This was from, I'm going to combine these two, from Faith Marie and Carlene. They're both asking about paper clutter. Put a little thumbs up if you struggle with paper clutter in the digital age. Little thumbs up so that Faith Marie and Colleen know they're not alone. I know, we're all struggling, right? The digital society with like paperless society never really showed up. So paper clutter, here's what we do. Faith is asking, what's the best way? Oh, and Kathy says my mom's a great artist. Thank you, Kathy. The best way to get paper clutter down to a minimum. I do electronic bills, but I still find myself bogged down with paper. By the way, I'm a student, so I read a lot of printed material. I do not retain well with ebooks. I can relate to that. But I have to print out articles from online journals because it makes learning easier for me. I'm looking forward to your suggestions. And then Carlene asked, she said, I print articles and I do not retain well. So Carlene and Faith Marie are very similar. They print their articles, but they end up with so much paper. So first thing, Faith Marie and Carlene, that I would tell you, you remember what I just told Laura about digital decluttering and the email system? It's the same thing with paper. Those 4 things, raft. There's only 4 things you can do with paper. Read, action, file, or trash it. 4 things, okay? So it sounds like both of you actually are doing a lot of reading from your paper. So if you have paper that you need to read and the purpose of it is just reading, create an area in your home that is just for to read materials. It's readables, okay? So you put the articles there. Any magazines or newsletters you might get, you put there. Anything on paper that is the sole purpose is reading. We're not taking action on it. The sole purpose is reading. Put it in your to read area. I recommend that area be where you like to read, next to a comfy couch or comfy chair or next to your bed, wherever you do this reading, by your desk. Have a basket or a tray for the readables, and then you read them, okay? Now here's what happens. Once you've read them, you have a decision to make, because the purpose was to read them, right? You've read it. What's the purpose now? Do you have to take action on it now? Maybe. If you're in a class, you might need to take action on it by using it in a paper that you're going to write, okay? So then it needs to move to a separate area where the actionable paper is. Do you need to file it? Do you need to reference this material later? Well, then you create a filing system, right, where you can reference that material later, right? A filing cabinet, file drawers. You don't need it in the to read area once it's been read, but maybe you need to file it. Maybe you have a whole filing system just for this class you're taking, okay? And it goes into, you know, English 101 or Psychology 200, whatever it is. Or trash. Read, action, file, trash. Write it down. It's a raft system. It will save you. Because honestly, if the purpose was to read it, you've read it, you've internalized it, and you don't need to do anything else. Trash it. You don't need it anymore. Okay, so that's my solution to paper clutter. Read, action, file, trash. And those of you who aren't students and maybe you aren't printing material offline, you use that same system with the paper that you have. Decide, is this a read? Is this an action? Is it a file, or is it a trash? Those are the only 4 things that can happen with paper. And put them in their respective areas. I have much more detail on this in a course that I will tell you guys about in a second. So Faith Marie and Carlene, hope that's helpful. The next person on my list who's asking me a question today is Patrice, which I love the name Patrice, by the way. She said she's sorry to miss the live virtual meeting. I'm sorry you are too, but I hope you watch the replay. She says, I'm going through a bunch of stuff right now, and much of it is duplicates of stuff that I bought because I couldn't find what I was looking for. Give Patrice a little high five or a thumbs up if you feel her on that, like you're finding stuff that you bought more than once because you didn't know what you had. Give a little thumbs up in the comments so that she knows she's not alone. She asks, how do you determine what should be thrown away versus what should be given away? I get stuck here sometimes. Like, what do you do with random bank pens, silly pencils, partially used erasers, random water bottles with various company logos on them, accessories to a toy you can't find or no longer have? Give a little thumbs up. Carlene, I'm glad that was helpful. Give a little thumbs up if you have that stuff in your house. Silly pens, partially used erasers, water bottles with company logos. What is the criteria to give to Goodwill or St. Vincent de Paul? I don't want to give them stuff that's not helpful, that takes up their time and space, and I don't want to fill the landfill up with stuff that someone could use. I spend way too much time on the little crap. We feel you, Patrice, and here are my answers to help you. A lot of us are in the same boat. So the things you described, right? When you were talking about the bank pens and the water bottles and the keychain from your, insurance agent, all of that, here's the first thing. Don't bring it in. Try your best to get in that habit of not accepting the freebies. I know it's hard because we always want to accept someone's freebies and like be nice to their feelings, and they give us this stuff. We're like, oh, thank you. It's so ingrained in us to do that. It's so ingrained in me to do that. But as much as possible, if you can't, say, oh, no, thanks. We have enough water bottles. Thank you, but we've got enough. You can give that to someone else. Politely refuse the item if you can. Okay, so that's step 1, is to really check it before it gets past the threshold of your house and it becomes your problem. Okay? The second thing that I would tell you, and this is kind of a hard truth, but it's a truth, and it's important to realize this. This is the truth about every item, every physical item. Everything becomes trash someday. Write that down. Everything becomes trash someday. It's not fun to hear that, but it's true and it's important, and here's why. I think a lot of times we believe that the moment something becomes trash is the moment we put it in the trash bag. That thing from your, that random company, that water bottle with the random company logo, we think, oh, well, if I put it in the trash, now it's trash. No, it was trash the moment you brought it in your house. It was trash the moment it was created at the factory that makes the water bottles and puts the company logos on them. And the reason for that is because if items are not compostable, they become trash. No matter whether you donated it to Goodwill, no matter whether you repurposed that water bottle and turned it into a vase and a rocket ship and whatever else you could turn it into, no matter what you did with it, if the base material that makes up that water bottle is plastic, which I'm guessing it is, that's not a compostable material. It will become trash someday. So really the question is, does this become trash today? Or does it become trash 20, 30 years from now? Now, I'm a huge environmentally friendly person, and I believe in keeping stuff out of the landfill as long as possible. But I'm also a realist in that I know that everything is going there someday anyway. So that's why the step one was so important. Don't bring it in. Because once you bring it in, you're putting a little timer on it and saying, okay, at a certain time from now, it's going to become trash and I'm going to be the one putting it in there. So I tell you that to hopefully alleviate some of that guilt and realize when you first start this decluttering process, you're probably going to create a lot more trash than you normally would. That's normal. It's like ripping off the Band-Aid. It's clearing the plate, because what it does is it allows you to move forward much smarter, much more responsibly, and you will create so much less trash going forward. So much less trash going forward. But sometimes we have to do that big purge, that big clean out to get to the point where we can create less trash. And that is the way that it is. So, you know, the criteria to give it to Goodwill or St. Vincent de Paul, feel free to give it to them if you'd like to. If you feel that it would honestly be helpful to them, give it to them. But use your best judgment. If you feel that this item is the best place for it is the trash, put it in the trash. It's okay. Move forward smarter. That's what we do, right? We learn, we adapt, we get better. And that's good. I hope that that is helpful to you, Patrice. All right, so we're about, take a little minute to talk to you guys about something important, something cool that I want to invite you to be part of. And I am going to answer more questions after this. I'm going to set another little timer here for myself, so make sure I get to more questions. A lot of you on this call, on this live, are at different stages of your simplicity journey. Some of you are just getting started. You might be reading a lot about minimalism or simplicity. You're in this group, so you're getting some information, you're getting some ideas, but you haven't actually started yet. And the thought of starting feels really overwhelming and scary, probably a little bit. And some of you are a little farther along the journey. You've started, you've created some open space in your life, and you're good about that, right? And maybe one of the things that you're looking for is some ideas, some encouragement, some accountability to keep going with that process, because maybe you've hit a little stalled point, or you know there are things you need to go to next, but you're not ready, and you might need a little guidance on how to tackle those areas. Maybe you've actually decluttered a lot of the stuff in your house. Like, you have decluttered a lot of the physical things, you're feeling pretty good, but you're looking for some encouragement to help you maintain it because you know that it's not going to maintain itself. So no matter where you are on those three spectrums, something that I want to share with you that is really exciting is a program that I run called the Monthly Min. It is a monthly program where you would meet with me once a month, and it would be on Zoom, so we would get to see each other, unlike this right now, and you would get to ask me your questions about minimalism or simplicity, and I would answer them. And every month we have a focus. So I would actually be teaching you specific skills and strategies for different areas of your house, and then throughout the month I would hold you accountable, and along with everyone else in the group, for achieving that intention or that goal that you have set for yourself for the month. So it's accountability. It goes at your pace, but it's enough that it's going to keep you on the minimalism and simplicity and decluttering track so that you have a little bit more skin in the game, a little bit more accountability. You have group support. So if you're interested in that, I will at the end of this call type this in the comments, but you can go to this website. It's bit.ly, that's bit.ly/monthlymin, and that's MONTHLYMIN. So bit.ly/monthlymin. You can check it out, you can learn about it, and I have a little discount code if you want to join us. It is $2 off per month, so it's normally $17 a month, so you'd get it for $15 a month, or $20 off for a year, so it's normally $174 for the year. You get it for $154 for the year. That discount code is SPRING20, so SPRING 20, numeric 20. All right, so go to the website, check it out, see what you think. I would love for you to join us. That discount code is good until the end of May. Okay, so you've got the rest of this week if you're interested in joining at a discount. All right, so go check it out. All right, back to the questions that we were asking. We answered Patrice's question. Judy had a question as well. Judy asked, When you have a chronic illness and you need a variety of stuff at different times, is there a way to minimize that category? To replace it is expensive. This is a great question, Judy. And one of the things that I think you want to think about, oh, and Anna's saying Monthly Min is great and she highly recommends. Thank you, Anna. Hey, Anna, would you mind putting that website in the chat? Because I actually can't do it on my phone. It's bit.ly/monthlymin. That would be so awesome of you if you could do it for me. So Judy's asking about things for someone with a chronic illness that you need occasionally, but you know, it could easily add clutter, and to replace it is expensive. So here's the thing that stuck out to me about what she wrote. She said things you need. Now when I see the word need, I immediately think if you actually need it, then this is something you need to keep. Because if it's a medical thing, it's difficult to replace, and it's something that you do truly need, this is something that should be in your house. So you want to keep it. Now, here's the thing though about keeping stuff like this. Thank you, Anna. Is there are things that we want to keep like in our fingertip distance and things we want to keep far away. So I have this rule called Rose's 3 realms of putting stuff away. And this is based on how frequently you need to use something. So the first realm, realm 1, you can write it down if you want. Realm 1 is fingertip distance. These are the things we use every day or several times a week. So the coffee maker, the coffee cups, if your shampoo, your soap, all the things you use a lot need to be in fingertip distance or in your office swivel distance of your chair, okay? The second realm is what I call reach and crouch distance. So realm 2, reach and crouch distance, meaning I might use it once a month, maybe twice a month. And because of that, I'm willing to get up on a step stool, reach up high, or crouch down low and get it. So if you don't use your crock pot that often, for example, put that up in a high cupboard, right? Once a month, you reach up there, get it. It's not such a pain because you're only using it once a month. And then the third realm, so write down realm 3, is expedition distance. This means you're willing to go on a journey to find this, right? You only use it maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. So it can be in like that really high, far back cupboard. It could be down in the basement. It could be up in the attic, right? Because you're only gonna get it once or twice a year. So it's not a huge issue to go on the journey, on the expedition to get it. So Joyce, Judy, I'm sorry, what I'm hearing from this is I think these medical things, a lot of them should be in expedition distance. Find a corner of your basement, a shelf in your garage where you store these things for those times when you need them. And then you bring them in, and while they're in fingertip distance, while they're being used, you use them. And then when there's no longer a need for them, you can put them back out there. The second idea that I had for you is actually one based on my own experience. If these are medical things and you could rent them more easily and more affordably than you could purchase them, that's another option as well. I know when my triplets were born, I'm gonna get really real with you guys here, I rented a hospital grade breast pump because I didn't know honestly if I would need a breast pump, and I was told if you really want to breastfeed effectively with triplets, you're going to need a good breast pump and a hospital grade one. And that was very expensive. So I rented one from a medical supply store near me, and I used it for about a month and a half, and then I sent it back because I realized formula for me was the far easier way to feed triplets than breast milk. So, and I'm very glad I rented because I would have spent a lot more money on a breast pump, or especially a really nice one if I would have bought one. So think about if renting this medical equipment might make more sense for you. But at the very least, think about those 3 realms of putting away and decide in which realm do these medical things belong. And I'm guessing a lot of them need to go into expedition distance until they become in use, and then you can bring them into fingertip distance, and then you can put them back. The last question that I got ahead of time, and then I'm going to open it up to the questions that I saw in the chat or any other questions that you have. Thanks, Joyce. She says my kids are cute. I'm going to agree. Kim, this is a great question from Kim. She said, how do you take the first step? I read about minimalism, but I cannot get started. And if you are like Kim or you've been like Kim, please put a little heart in the chat for her, because we've all been there, right? We're reading about something, we're getting the ideas, but we're not actually getting started. So one thing I tell you, Kim, is that's actually really normal for any type of life change. Let's say you wanted to run a marathon. You probably don't start off by running. You start off by reading about marathons. You start researching. Maybe you subscribe to a blog or a podcast for marathon runners, and you start almost imagining in your mind what it would be like to run a marathon. You start picturing yourself as a marathon runner. That's actually how all change takes place. That's how you learn to walk. You observed people walking. You started thinking about walking. You started imagining walking, and eventually you started walking, okay? So the same is true, Kim, with decluttering, with simplicity. You're in that stage of contemplation, but it sounds like from your question that you're really ready to move to the stage of beginning, and that's exciting, and I'm so glad you asked this question. So I have 2 pieces of advice for you, Kim. The first is start with your own stuff. I don't know your living situation, so I don't know if you live with other people, but if you do, a lot of times when people start, they want to start by decluttering their partner's things or their kids' things or their brother-in-law's stuff that's in the basement. And we often want to start by trying to change the people around us when really we probably need to change ourselves first. So, and also if you start by trying to change the things that other people are doing, you're going to get a lot of pushback and they're going to hold on to their stuff more strongly, and that's not going to be good for you. So start with your own stuff. Be the change you wish to see in the world, right? That's what Gandhi told us. Be the change you wish to see in your house. So wherever you have jurisdiction, your clothing, your personal products, your items in the kitchen that are yours, your paper, start with your stuff, okay? So that's number 1, make sure it's yours. Number 2, and this is important, start somewhere easy. Start somewhere easy, wherever it feels easy to you. I often tell people that when we're dealing with our stuff, we're not actually dealing with our stuff. What we're dealing with are our feelings and emotions about our stuff. Feelings and emotions are difficult. You don't need me to tell you that, right? Feelings and emotions are the hardest thing we ever have to deal with in life. So as such, don't start where the feelings and emotions are high. Start where they're low. So one of the reasons in retrospect that I started with my towels, when I started, that was the first place I went, were my towels. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the reason I was starting with my towels was because I didn't have strong emotional connections to towels. They're just towels. I didn't fondly remember when I purchased them, when I registered for them. I didn't remember every time I dried my hands. Like, remember that time in '94 when I dried my hands? Oh, that was a good time. No, I don't have that with towels. And you probably don't either, right? So start somewhere easy. Where is the emotional connection low? For many people, that is the bathroom, right? Beauty products, personal care products, typically we don't have a lot of connection there. So it's much easier to start, and we also are in control of most of that because usually those products belong to us, so we don't have to ask anyone else's permission or input. So you can start in the bathroom, start with your own stuff. If it feels easy, start there, and then make a little bit of progress and celebrate your progress. And eventually you will build up the muscles, the minimalism muscles, to tackle the hard stuff, like the memorabilia, like the sentimental items that Tracy asked about at the beginning of this live. I wouldn't recommend you start with sentimental items. Don't start with memorabilia. Start where it feels easy, wherever that is for you. Maybe that's your clothing, maybe that's the kitchen, maybe that's the bathroom, maybe that's, I don't know, something else. Whatever feels easy to you is where you start, and then you move on from there. And I would also encourage you, Kim, to get some support to keep you going, which is why the Monthly Min is a really great program for people who are just getting started, and it's great for people who are maintaining progress they've already made, because it's going to give you accountability and like-minded people, and me, who has a few years of doing this and lots of experience to help you, personally help you and encourage you to keep going. Because the one thing where I see people fail with decluttering or any type of life change, where we fail, and we've all failed, and I've done this, is when we don't enlist any support. We try to go at it completely on our own, like we're John Wayne on the prairie. We're going to declutter everything on our own, and we're not going to have anyone supporting us. And that's probably where most of us fail. You know, when I started my journey, I didn't have a support group or a support system, but here's what I did. And again, in retrospect, I can see exactly why I did this. I started a blog. I started a blog called Clutter-Free Mom of 3, which now all those posts are on my current blog, so don't go to that address, you won't find anything. But I started a blog, and for me, what it meant in my mind was, well, my blog readers expect another post next week, and they want to know what I did. And if I don't do a post sharing what I did, they're going to be disappointed. Now, they probably wouldn't have cared because I had like 2 readers and it was like my mom and her friend. But in my mind, that was my accountability. They were holding me accountable for continuing to make progress. And I was dedicated and committed to them that I was going to show up and I was going to make a change. And if you need a group like that, wherever you are in your journey, if you need a group like that to support you, check out my Monthly Min program. Just check it out. Just look at the page and see what you think. And if you have questions, you can message me, you can email me, you can contact me. Because what I don't want you to do is listen to this live, read my book, read my blog, watch videos, watch that documentary and be like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Oh, well, moving on, right? And then you spend your life regretting what could have been, because I'll tell you what, when you create more open space in your life, you create a lot of possibilities. There are unlimited possibilities in you, and if you're spending your brain space dealing with socks and clutter and paper and shoes and email and all the little tidbits of life, you're missing out on the bigger things that you could be doing. And that's why I do this, guys. That's why I do it. I don't honestly care what your homes look like. I don't care how clean your surfaces are. What I care is how clear your mind is. I care how you feel you're showing up in the world, and if you feel like you're living your purpose or not. And if you're surrounded in clutter and it's stressing you out and it's keeping you from living the life you want to live, I am offering you the opportunity to change that. And I hope you take me up on it, because I would love to work with you. All right, I'm going to go through and I'm going to see if there are any other questions, because we have a little bit of time left here. I'm just popping through the comments. Christine, hi Christine. Oh, Christine is a good friend. So good to see you on here. Christine asks, with the kids, do you do laundry every day to avoid a buildup? I love questions about laundry. So first answer to your question about laundry is get real about how much clothing you need. The more clothing you have, the more difficult laundry becomes, and here is why. So let's say you have and your kids have enough clothes that you literally could go like a month or 2 months without doing laundry. The problem, it's very easy. A lot of people have that, right? A lot of people have that situation. So here's the problem with having that much clothing. There's no urgency to do your laundry. So if we have enough clothing, that clean clothing, we could just keep wearing it, and we just kind of keep letting the laundry build up and build up and build up until it becomes Mount Laundry. And then it's been like a month and it's really overwhelming and we really don't want to do it, and it feels so onerous and it feels so difficult. Let's imagine a different situation. Let's imagine that you and your kids each have about-ish enough laundry to get to laundry day, whenever you determine laundry day will be for you, whether that's once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever. I'll tell you, in my own family, since you asked, we do about 1 load of laundry per day, and it's split up by person. So like Mercedes' laundry is Sunday, Orlando's laundry is Monday, Adult Darks is Tuesday, Adult Whites is Wednesday, Thursday is Reese, Friday is Delicates, Saturday is towels and rags, and Sunday's Mercedes again. So I have a system, right? So there's a system, but what you can see from that system is it's about once a week for every person. So that means every person needs about enough clothing to get to laundry day. And you want people to feel, as they get close, a little nervous. Like, I will be completely honest, I've told you about my breast pump, I'm gonna tell you about my underwear now. This Facebook Live is bringing out all my secrets. Today is Tuesday. It is adult laundry day. When I went to put on underwear today, I was putting on the last pair of underwear in my drawer. And there was this thought like, ooh, Rose, you really better do the laundry today, because if you don't have clean underwear. That's really motivating to make you wash, dry, and fold and put away. The fact that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have clean underwear tomorrow is highly motivating. And it will be highly motivating for your kids and your spouse and whoever else you live with if you don't have too many clothes. So that's my answer. Limit the number of clothes you have to make laundry more urgent, to make it less onerous, so that there is a reason, there's an impetus, there's urgency to get it done, to get it folded, washed, dried, and put away. So that would be my advice on laundry. And what you really do is you just determine how often you want to do laundry. If you only want to do laundry every 2 weeks, well, make sure you've got enough clothes to get through every 2 weeks. If you want to do laundry once a week, make sure you've got enough clothes to get through a week, and so on and so forth. I will tell you, let's be honest here, the things that will really make a difference are like socks and underwear. That's usually when we do laundry anyway. Like, usually we have enough shirts and pants to last us, but it's like when the socks and underwear get low. So keep a nice, tidy amount of socks and underwear, and that in and of itself will continue to keep the laundry pushing and flowing through your house. So, great question, Christine. All right, we got a few more minutes here. Tracy, excited that I answered the question about the yearbooks. Ready to look at that. Good, Tracy, I'm glad. Scrolling through. Marge says she could use more time. Well, Marge, the best answer to that is to build a time machine. And I don't know how to do that. I am sorry, I can't build your time machine. Marge, I feel you though. How many of us wish we had more time, right, to declutter? But here's what I'll tell you. A lot of times we think that decluttering has to be this huge hours long process, right? Like I'm going to spend 5 hours and we're going to tackle the garage and it's going to be awesome. And it does not have to be that way. You could declutter while you're brushing your teeth. So I want you to get yourself, Marge, a donation box. Literally just a box that you use to put donations in. That's all it is. It's nothing more. It's literally an empty box. And as you go throughout your day, doing your normal stuff, I want you to just glance around and see if there are things you no longer need or use. And put those things as you find them and come across them into that donation box. When that donation box is full, bag up everything that's inside, put it in the front seat of your car so that it's in your way a little bit, drop it off at your favorite charity the next time you're out, and repeat and repeat and repeat. Because while you're brushing your teeth, I guarantee you can probably find 1 or 2 items in your bathroom you don't need. Put them in the box. Or if it's like, you know, a half-used bottle of lotion, just put it in the trash, okay? Don't donate a half-used bottle of lotion. Okay, so put it in the trash or the donation box, depending where it's most appropriate. As you're getting dressed in the morning, which we all are, maybe a lot less now during COVID-19, but we're still wearing some clothes during the day. You're in your drawer, right? You're seeing those t-shirts you never wear. Put them in the donation box. As you're cooking dinner or getting your morning coffee, you're getting the coffee cup out. You're grabbing that same favorite coffee mug, one of the 5 favorites that you love the most, and you're ignoring all the dusty ones in the back. Grab a couple dusty ones from the back. Put them in the donation box. None of this is taking any extra time out of your day that you're not already spending. What you're simply doing is you're like raising the awareness flag on minimalism and simplicity and decluttering in your mind. You're like, you know what? I'm going to put a little more attention, a little more awareness on what I don't need. And as you see those things that you don't need, you have a place for them. It's your donation box. You're just filling it up. If you want to get really serious about this, put a donation box in every room of the house. Put one on every floor of the house. Put one in your kids' rooms. My kids have one in their room. Well, my daughter does. My boys just put their donations in her box. I don't know why. But you can put more than one donation box in your house, so it's so accessible. It's right there, and you can just drop stuff in when you have the time. Great question, Marge. I think that was very helpful for everyone to hear. Susan is asking about kitchen doodads and storage. All right, so kitchen doodads, Susan. Really, you got to get real about how many of these you need, right? So my last method, one of the steps, the E step, the second step is to get everything out, right? To empty it. So get all those doodads out and put them like with like together. All the ice cream scoopers together, all the measuring cups, all the measuring spoons, all the wooden spoons, everything, all the doodads together with their buddies. And then ask yourself, how many of these do I need? How many ice cream scoopers do you need? Are you running an ice cream parlor? Do you need 5 ice cream scoops? If not, well, how many? 1? Would 1 do it? 2? I don't know your family and your ice cream needs. But once you've emptied everything out, you can determine what truly is valuable to you and what is not. The other thing I'll say about kitchen doodads is to really be on high alert for one-hit wonders. And what I mean by one-hit wonders are items that only do one thing. So a great example of this in the kitchen is that apple corer slicer thing. You know, it's like round, it's got the little 8 sections and you just like push it through the apple. It cores it and slices it into 8 slices. It's awesome. If you eat a sliced apple every single day, you keep that if that's the thing that you use. However, realize that little thing, that's all it can do. It can't do anything else for you but that one task. It's a one-hit wonder. Now, if you're playing that hit every day, keep it. But if you don't slice an apple every day, you know a better tool that's a multi-tool? A knife. A knife will also help you core and slice your apple, as well as dice your tomatoes and chop your garlic and cut up the veggies for your stir fry and all sorts of other things. So a knife is a multi-tool. The apple corer slicer is a one-hit wonder, and you have to get really clear about, do these one-hit wonders add enough value that they're worth the counter space and the cupboard space and the drawer space that they're taking up or not? Only you can answer that, and I hope that that is a helpful answer for you, Susan. You actually also asked about storage. Storage is, again, one of those areas I recommend you go last, but it's no different from any other space. We get all uptight about it because usually it's really cluttered, but it's no different than your closet or your bathroom or your kitchen. Get clear about what you want to see in there. So this is my last method in like really brief. Lay out your vision and purpose. What do you want to see and how do you want to use it? Okay. Then E, the second step, empty as much of it as possible. Probably work in chunks because emptying an entire storage space is really overwhelming, but a shelf here, a shelf there, move your way around, top to bottom, left to right, clockwise around emptying things, sorting them into like piles, just like I told you to do with those doodads in the kitchen. I'm telling you the same thing. And once they're in like piles, decide how much is valuable to you. How much do you need to keep or want to keep? Put back your keepers, systemize it. That's the final S, is systemize. Put it back in a systemized way. Donate and trash everything else that wasn't valuable to you. So that was real quick, Susan. I will tell you though, Susan, our next month in the monthly min, our focus for June is storage. I'm not making that up. That actually is our focus. I'm going to talk specifically in much more detail about how to deal with storage spaces at our meeting in June, which is June 3rd. So if you join us, you will get much more detail about that, and I would love to help you process through some of your storage spaces in June. All right. I'm looking and seeing if there's any other questions. Joyce said, good idea on the donation box. I've pulled clothes out of the closet, put them on, didn't like them, and they went back in the closet. Joyce, we have all done that. I have done that before. I would like put something on and be like, oh, it doesn't fit right. It shrunk in the wash. Oh, it's got a hole in it. And instead of putting it in the donation box, put it right back in the closet. Give a little thumbs up if you've done that. We've all done that. But the donation box, there's a reason that I keep mine on the floor of my closet right there, because I found that clothing was probably for me originally the #1 space that I needed to declutter in my life, and it was hard because I was really emotionally attached to a lot of it. All right, guys, you have hung with me for nearly an hour, so if you were here the whole time, give yourself a little pat on the back, or a little raise your fist and say, yeah, I did it. I stayed for the whole hour. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you gained some tidbits, some knowledge that you can move forward, can live the decluttered life you want to live. Just a reminder, if you want to be more in contact with me, if you want this type of encouragement regularly from me, where you can ask me questions face-to-face on a video call, and I can help you, and I have a group that will hold you accountable for the progress you want to make, the monthly min is a great option for you. You go to bit.ly/monthly min, check it out. There is a discount code SPRING20 that you can use until the end of May. It will give you $2 off per month or $20 off per year. Love to have you in there and help you create the life that you want, because that's really what this is about. It's not even just about creating the home that you want. It's about creating the life that you want, and I would love to be there with you and guide you along that way. So thank you, guys. Thanks for the dance party with me. I hope you had fun, because it's minimalism is fun, and that's what this is all about. So glad you guys were here with me, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.